Ladies and gentlemen, it is July 13th, 2010. It's the Day 9 Daily, number 154. How y'all doing? By the way, that's one of those wonderful things you learn when you're raised in Kansas. What's the plural of y'all? All y'all. It's so good to have all y'all here. I have accomplished a technical miracle by having a daily today, because let me tell you something, that patch 0.20 on the beta nearly ruined my whole life. But because I have multiple full versions of the beta on my computer, I managed to not patch one, so we can watch this delightful replay between the Little One and White-rA. And before we do any little analysis, I always have to plug my launch party that's happening on the 26th. I'll be brief today. Just go to day9tv.eventbrite.com, and you can find all the information about it there. It's basically going to be a 12-hour party where we're going to have all sorts of video content contributed by everyone who's part of the Starcraft community. And in addition, we're doing the finals of the King of the Beta tournament, which I'm going to make an official announcement about tomorrow, once we just make sure that people can be playing each other in that. Because I wouldn't want to be like, these 10 players are playing, and then none of them can show up. So, I want to let all of you know, I did P90X day 1 this morning. P90X, what's that? It's this workout that is so trendy. So I'm doing it largely because I want to fit in. But it's like all marketing, right? It's like, oh my god, P90X works because of muscle confusion. And you read that, you're like, oh, it has a trademark symbol by the words muscle confusion. They really know what they're doing, right? So I was like, I want to get in shape. I've always wanted to kind of get in shape. I'm a gym dabbler. I kind of go, I kind of push things around, smoke a little, whatever, I might leave or something, might just stretch, then I'll head out. Never really was super intense about figuring out a good workout plan, so I figured, well, if I just follow this thing, then, at least something will happen. And I did day 1 today. Now, first of all, it was horrible and embarrassing, because I don't have money, I think you may know. I just got the DVDs from a friend, so I have to do it at the gym. So I have to, bring my laptop into a corner of the gym. And they only have one good pull-up bar at the gym, which is by, the 270-degree semicircle of windows. So, everyone can see me. Even people that I can't see are looking at me while I'm doing this workout. It's just whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm, sitting there, and it is impossible. It's not that it's muscle confusion, it's that it's actually not humanly possible to do this without dying. I could not do one push-up by the time I was done. I literally just had my hands out, and I was just, shaking. I was just Argh! And I'm, dripping sweat all over the floor, and people are looking at me all weird and funky, and whatever. You know what? I'm going to be a healthy person. This is how hard it was for me, right? It's a 75-minute video thing for day 1. And he keeps saying, and pause and take a break if you really can't handle it anymore. And it took me 2 hours and 20 minutes. Oh man. And I came home and I just immediately fell asleep. And I might pass out in the cast right now. My elbows are literally shaking. I can't actually keep them still. But that's okay. That's okay. I made it. I'm good. Gonna go ahead and continue to do the daily. So, we are going to look at a lovely game by our wonderful good friends White-rA and the Little One, who of course had his birthday today. So of course the way that I treat him to a birthday is by showing a game he may or may not win. And all these replays, or all this one replay that you're going to see, you can download from White-rA.com. So definitely support White-rA, go to his website, give him traffic, and let him know that Day 9 sent you. We have White-rA spawning down here as the red Protoss pieces, and of course sound is now enabled thanks to the beautiful Control-S hotkey button. We have up here on the top is the Little One. Now, for any of you who are unfamiliar with this, when the beta came back online, there seemed to be a mysterious set of changes that were unlisted that were actually intended simply for internal testing. According to the myth, the rumor. So the patch 0.20 came out today, and some of the changes that were being played around with was slightly longer Reaper time, slightly longer Zealot time, this sort of thing, and all that has now been reverted. In this game, it was not. So that was part of the reason for the extraordinary technical feat of getting it to work. Also, I turned on my webcam and my entire computer blue screen, so that's something else I need to worry about. But, either way, Day 9 will prevail. Protoss vs. Terran, increasingly becoming one of my favorite matchups to play. Now, here's always a good thing to tell yourself, to make yourself do. This is a total P90X attitude, man. By the way, anytime someone looked at me funny, I would do this. Because that's what the guy does in the video. He's like, P90X, it's extreme. So some more girl would look at me and this, and I would break eye contact and go back to sweating. But anyways, so what was I talking about? Anytime you have some sort of weakness in your play, practice that the most. I know that sounds dumb, but you're going to catch yourself doing this. For instance, for me, way back in, I think, 2003 or so, I would play with my practice buddies for WCG, but a lot of them were Zerg, so I ended up only playing Zerg vs. Zerg, and that's all I really wanted to play. And unfortunately, almost all the top players in America at the time were Terran, so I really should have been practicing that. So for 2004 and 5, I would practice a lot versus Terran, because I knew it was my weakest, and I knew all the good people were good at Terran, so I needed to get strong at that matchup, and it suddenly became my favorite matchup the more and more and more I practiced it. So you heard me say that this matchup is increasingly becoming my favorite matchup to play. That's because I could tell that I was not very strong at it, practiced it a lot, and now it's becoming so fun. So always attack your weaknesses, and then do that little flashy X sign, which looks like an airborne suck it, yeah. Oh my god, I'm like super happy. I'm in such a good mood. I feel great. It's a little one doing his good old wall off, building a barracks here. Has space for any other large building. One supply depot won't do it, but anything larger will. And no gas being taken yet. Oh, what mysteries could lie in store. I do want to talk a little bit about when this first gateway goes down, because you heard me say that there are generally two breakups of when you get your gateway. There's the super early gateway, and then the slightly normal gateway. The super early would be getting it on like 10, so that way you can get your cybernetics core up on 14, get that gateway going really, 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 really fast. Or you've heard me say the normal one is something 12, 13-ish. I wanted to propose a third variety, which is chrono boosting all your probes aggressively, and actually building that gateway around 14 very, 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 very late, and building your geyser on 15, and because you've been chrono boosting your probes so much, you have a very strong economy, and a lot of times players will do this when they scout early with a probe. So White-rA, who scouted early, would not mind at all if he did go ahead and make like a 14 gateway or so. So there's his cybernetics core coming out. It is on 19. Good placement on that first pylon. Already noticed long-term planning going on by White-rA. He's already setting this up. Does a little bit of spotting, but especially the warp gating is good, and especially when his opponent comes in, and oh my goodness, mysteriously only one pylon, it can be very intimidating. So, oh yes, the little one, thank you very much for doing an awesome build. The good old 1-Rax Fast Command Center. Good build in this matchup. A very popular build, especially when players like TheMuslim have been doing this style of build, one barracks straight into command center. They end up getting a bunch of barracks afterwards, 4 or 5 barracks massing Marines, and what does White-rA see? Well, he sees the command center exactly, so he's going to respond by early expanding. A good response. No need to worry about any sort of cliffage. He can easily build enough stalkers in time to repel Marines, or even to put pressure on these Marines. One thing that I just have to emphasize so much, stalkers are such nimble little units. They're very, 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 very potent early on. Use their speed, poke aggressively. Doesn't matter if you take a few hits early, shields heal so fast. And here's the patented little one, Fast Depot. Anytime you do this sort of Fast Depot early on, you can end up getting this command center and this barracks out a little bit faster. That's why little one likes it. And here's the bunker going down. So, as we're seeing, I'm going to ignore this refinery for a moment. The TheMuslim, and especially the Morrow style of doing this, be to get 4 or 5 barracks, slam out a bunch of bunkers, 3 or so, to make sure you can hold off the 4 warp gate. And not to really get gas early on. But players have increasingly been favoring fewer barracks, a faster tech lab, and then getting stim very quickly. Because the Marines not only can end up defending well enough, but you can do counter aggression. And already nice little rally point antics, being very aggressive, poking with the stalker, getting a good sense of what's going on. Because still, White-rA's somewhat in the dark. Somewhat in the dark. Oh, sees a bunker. Very good giveaway of what's going on. And at this point, little one also knows his buddy's expanding. So definitely going to be some focuses on the long term in this game. So already we have a fast Twilight Council. Now, if you watched any of the White-rA games in his Protoss vs. Protoss that were in the, probably I'd say 10 or so Day 9 dailies ago, White-rA was really, really good with using this in Protoss vs. Protoss, and now it seems like he's using it in Protoss vs. Terran. Excellent, excellent choice, especially because we have this high ground cliff. This is so important, and Blink's pretty much the easiest way to be able to stay alive on that. And meanwhile, in the base of the Little One, he's getting, 2 tech labs and a reactor. Now, the 2 tech labs I really love. The reactor I'm always a little leery of, especially because I have suffered many horrible losses against a 4 warp gate push because I got this reactor and because it took up too much time. But again, look at the information that Little One has. He knows there's an expansion going down, so he has plenty of time to build the necessary units. Meanwhile, Ghost Academy going down, double gas going up, going to be able to get plenty of upgrades. Marauder's already en route. Would have liked earlier stim though. I'm such a giant fan of early stim, as you'll hear 1,000,001 times anytime I see a Terran player play. So the good question right now, we have hit this state in the game, right? And I think everything's pretty typical up to here. But this is kind